Namaste. Well, Happy New Year. I hope everyone is safe and healthy. We are bringing something really interesting today called Nadi Yoga and Sound Healing. That's what we're going to find out what it is from Advait. Advait is joining me live from India. Namaste, Advait.
Namaste, namaste. Thank you, Amita ji, for the heartful invitation.
Great. So let's just explain us what Nadi Yoga means and then how you combine it with sound healing.
Absolutely. So as we know, the yoga, the lineage and the tradition of yoga, the word yoga simply means the union, the divine union of our individual consciousness to the cosmic consciousness, to the universal consciousness. And Nad Yoga is a method through which we use the divine sound, the Anahad Nad. We might have heard, all might have heard this. So with the divine frequencies and the spanda, the vibrations, we use these techniques and modalities to help us connect with the divine vibrations. So Nad Yoga is the last part of any yogic journey or any seeker's journey to unify with the cosmic consciousness. So that is a little bit about Nad Yoga and how we integrate with the sound therapy. Well, sound therapy or sound healing, which is famously known as around the world, even it is also called a sound bath in majority of the US regions, in UK regions. So how we integrate Nad Yoga with the sound therapy? Basically, sound therapy is the external treatment and intervention of powerful frequencies which calibrate our imbalanced frequencies. So sound therapy literally means we introduce different frequencies and sounds which can help us recorrect our balance of the body, mind, and the energy mechanics. And then when we establish ourselves into the sound therapy and the vibrations, the journey of Nad Yoga starts, which is the internal yoga of sound, the internal sound therapy. That is how these both sciences are interlinked. Sound therapy is the science which helps us to balance the external situations, and Nad Yoga is the internal spiritual science, the yoga of sound.
Okay, that's fascinating. So let's just understand, you talked about the external, so let's just understand the frequencies of the different sound that are used for therapy purpose.
Yes. So for therapeutic purposes, we all understand that we have our body, the brain, then the mind, which deals with the emotions, intellect, the thoughts, and the all the processing of the intelligence. And then we have the energies. So how we deal externally with the sound and frequencies? First, we use certain instruments called as the singing bowls. Traditionally, right now, they have been famously called as the Tibetan singing bowls, but they have their history in the Ayurveda and in the Indian yogic traditions. So they basically have been originated from the science of Ayurveda and the Nad Yoga, and now they have been known as Tibetan bowls because Tibetan monks and Buddhist monks have been using it extensively around the world. So these singing bowls, they introduce us to the sattvic frequencies, the harmonious frequencies, which balance our disturbed frequencies. How do they do that? The moment the vibration starts encapsulating us, our brain starts to go into the brainwave science to the theta level and to the delta level. Generally speaking, right now we are into the beta state of brainwave frequency. So when we start to go into the states of theta and delta waves, which are into the range of 0 hertz, like 0.1 hertz to 8 hertz, this is where the body's natural healing capacity, the autonomous nervous system kicks off, the sympathetic nervous system, which helps us to go into the deep meditative state, deep sleep, helps us to balance the hormones, the human growth hormone, the serotonin, the melatonin, all the good hormones which are required for the body to relax. And then it ultimately helps us to relax the nervous system. So the majority of the part when we go into the delta and theta level, this system starts to kick off. So if we see right now, there is the need in the society where everyone is stressed out, everyone is into the state of fear and flight mode basically. Even though the real stress is not there, but the perceived stress that we inherit from our surroundings, to manage that and to effectively tackle that, that is the majority part where the lower frequencies help us. Even the solfeggio frequencies have been said that they can help us to retune back to the theta and delta level of brainwave science. So yeah.
I think that's fascinating. And there are, so explain us a different type of instruments, right, that you are using and any sound therapist will use to help us with the reaching this therapeutic level.
Yeah. So the typical instruments that I have been traditionally using into the science of Nad Yoga and sound therapy are the singing bowls and the gongs. But around the world, sound therapists and the music therapists, they have been using the shamanic drums. They use the digitiro. There are the crystal singing bowls also which are available. There are the chimes which have been used. And at the same time, any traditional cultural instruments can be linked with the usage of sound therapy and music therapy. But the one who is using the modality or the instrument should know how to use it. Like if I have the instrument, I can use it for enlightenment or I can use it for entertainment. So it depends on the seeker or the user how he has been beautifully guiding the people around himself or herself. So any instrument can be typically or hypothetically can be used for healing. But if we want to specifically go into the science of healing and connect it with psychology and medicine, then the go-to instrument for us is the singing bowls, because they have been traditionally used since the last thousands of years to heal our body, the brain, the mind, and the consciousness. So sound therapy, first of all, works beautifully on the body, then it translates to the mind level, and then it translates to the energy and to the consciousness growth. So I use the singing bowls and gongs, but we can use array of instruments to heal the stuff. Even many sound therapists and classical musical artists around the world, they also use their voice, the vowels. If we date back to the ancient civilizations, all the tribal culture had their own set of instruments, their culture. Like in India, if we see, we have the culture of Arti and Mantra. But if we go to the African culture, they have their own set of rhythmic dance and therapeutic movements, which have been combined with sound beautifully. So yeah.
I think it's fascinating. So the last question is, like you talked about the Nard yoga being the internal part of it, the spiritual part of it, and the sound therapy being the external, which we understand. Could you explain us a little bit more in detail about the Nard yoga, the internal part?
Yes. So when we talk about Nad Yoga, especially from the Nad Yoga Upanishad, so there are different layers of sound which can be correlated with the different levels of our consciousness. Typically, when we explore different scriptures and text, or even the modern, like you can say, the words which author have penned down. So there we can link it to the 4 levels of consciousness, or 7 layers of our mind, or 7 layers of our spiritual growth. Typically, there are 9. So when the Nad Yoga starts to happen within us, carefully note the word, it happens to us. It is not a way that, okay, I say that, I want to practice Nad Yoga, let's just do it. It is not the way around like that. So it's like the grounding which has to happen first. When the grounding and the positive environment has been created in the body level, then the Nad Yoga starts to slowly happen. So there are 9 levels of sound, 9 layers of our consciousness, and with each and every step of our practice of internal sound, we start to go up and up and up. And this has been interlinked with our science of DNA upgrade also, like the DNA science of DNA activation, or the science of how we can listen to our own sound of organs. Like right now, when I'm speaking to you, I can listen my heartbeat. I can listen what my kidneys are speaking to me. This is the layer of scanning our own body, mind, and consciousness. So when the seeker starts to practice it more intensively with a specific tradition or with a specific guru or a master, it starts to happen within internally. And then you are there in the divine consciousness of sound. So yeah.
I think it's fascinating. So, would you talk it something similar to what they call it body scan in the Western world? Is that what it is then?
It is similar to that, but it is a extra layer deeper, an advanced aspect of Nad Yoga. So the body scanning, we have to do it. Like we have to follow certain instructions to do that. But when we are into the spectrum of Nad Yoga, it is happening to us 24/7 without me doing or without us doing anything. The sound is right there in your, it's like upfront, and that guides you in your decision making, in your intuition, in your clarity of life. Because right now entire humanity is facing a thing called as mental fog or fatigue, or they are into the state of conflict. So this conflict doesn't allow us to see our own innate frequency, our singular vibration. So when we practice the science of sound therapy and Nad Yoga, our unique frequency comes to us. our voice changes, our behavior changes, our patterns of lifestyle start to change. That is the beauty of it. So with the sound, we can literally change our entire lifestyle. Similarly, how now the scientists and even people have been discovering with the sound, we can use it like a war machine also, with the resonance, with the sound, the science of resonance. Similarly, if we use it beautifully for like spiritual growth, nothing like it.
I think it's absolutely fascinating.
Yeah.
How we can, an inner voice, we don't listen to the inner voice because we are so inundated with all the social media and and we want to, I mean, especially the teenagers that, I was reading an article in New York Times saying that people are taking all these pictures so that they can put it on social media to get likes. So that is not listening to the inner voice at all. That's listening to the outside voice. What are your thoughts on that? How do we change the society?
Yeah. So the society starts to change. Like if you want to really change the society, it starts with the individual level. There is a beautiful saying that, I don't know the exact words, but the charity begins from the home in a way, right? So what do we really mean by the home? This body, it is nothing but the abode of the God. That is what our scriptures have been saying. This body, you don't have to go external to maybe right now why people are behaving the way right now on the social media, or right now the way it has been designed, because they want to seek attention from the external objects. They don't know how to seek this internal love and compassion, that companionship which has to be generated from within. And this is where the science of Nad Yoga and sound therapy helps. Instead of relying on the external frequencies, we become so full of completeness and wholeness within that we don't need any external stuff anymore, no external dependencies. And this is where the real transformation can begin. It is like that if our own body and mind becomes the healer or the mother, then only the true mother can help. It's not about the biology or the gender, it is about we becoming our own healer in a way. And the moment we are healed and complete within our own self as an individual, this is where an individual can transform millions and billions of people. This is what I truly believe in. Then this is where Nad Yoga helps us to be in our own frequency and voice, to find our own purpose.
I think it's fascinating. Well, we just wanted to bring us quick primer and intro to what Nad Yoga is and how it can be combined with the sound healing to find your inner love, to find yourself. That is what Advait is propagating and advocating. And we're bringing these workshops, launching it within this month. So stay tuned, and thank you everyone for your support. Namaste. And thank you so much, Advait, for joining me live from India. Bye-bye and namaste.
Thank you.